this nasalized, glottalized dental click. So ju o an, ju o an, I think. Interesting. So here we have person, dog, meteor, and forest. So who knows what the semantic basis of this is? I'm sure there is one. Hey there, YouTube. Welcome back. We are making our community participation / fan service Conlang. Everyone who's here in the chat today, we're all celebrating and we're all getting our names into this Conlang, which we've been making by randomly throwing together different languages and seeing what happens. So that is the plan. Let's go back right into the side webcam and keep going. All right. Thomas. Oh, yeah. I don't know how that happened. Superb. Okay, so now we have made, go back over here for a second. We've come up with a language to base the consonant system on, a language to base the vowel system on, a language to base the syllable structure on, a language to base the word order on, a language to base the sort of analytic versus synthetic nature of the language on. And we've gone through and we've made our consonant inventory, our vowel inventory, our syllable structure. And now we need to say a few things about word order and about the sort of morphological typology. So is it an analytic language or a largely synthetic language? So let's look at the language we have chosen. Yeah, mish could be. So Chalcatongo Mixtec. So I need to find the walls entry on that language. Heavens to Murgatroyd, where are we? Oh, here we go. So let's go and see what walls has to say. For the phonologies, it's better to look into something like Foible, which is the database I showed you here, foible.org, which has great database of inventories. And then for the more morphological and syntactic stuff, walls is kind of the gold standard. So let's take a look at the word order. So let's go down to, let's see, word order. Here we go. And so here we have a delightful assortment of word order features. And so we're just going to copy them. So here's what we have. Oh, who in the chat said they wanted VSO? Because we got it. VSO. So we have VSO, VS, VO. Okay, that's incorporated into VSO. The obliques come after the object. That's another one. VSO. The random number spirits are with us today. Although if they were really with us, we would have had Pirahan for something. But I digress. So we have prepositions. We have noun genitive order. We have noun adjective order. We have noun demonstrative order. We have numeral noun order. We have noun plus relative clause. We have, not sure why these are separate. Why is this a separate feature? Let's look. Sorry, I'm just going to zip through this so that I can satisfy the curiosity. Postnominal relative clause. Oh, okay, so this is about if one type is predominant or if there are other types, internally headed relative clauses, things like that. Okay, that's not important for us. And let's see. No question particles. Initial interrogative phrases. Initial subordinator. And so this is referring to, what is this referring to? Yeah, so things that in traditional grammar we call subordinating conjunctions, which depending on your theory is going to be called something different. So they've given a very broad and general term here, adverbial subordinator. Great. So things like because or if. Fine. What else do we have? These are just combinations of other features, so we don't have to worry about them. Okay, so these are our word order features. Kind of fun. VSO. VSO does seem to be something that is fairly rare cross-linguistically, but it pops up in certain little hotspots. Yeah, that's an interesting question. Raven, no empty onset is kind of too nuts. Yeah, yeah, I think I know what you mean. For things like for adapting names and things, we could probably put in a glottal stop. Or we could say that phonetically there's a glottal stop, and we have the possibility of an empty onset. Let's just say that rather than put in a glottal stop. Yeah. There will be a phonetic glottal stop for fans of the glottal stop. Okay, so great. So these are our word order features here. VSO order. Kind of cool. I like VSO languages. I think Irish and Scottish Gaelic were my primary subject of research for a long time, so I've got a lot of love for VSO. Okay. I'm going to do a quick hydration break. Yeah. I love this bottle. It holds so much water. This is a habit I picked up when I was in grad school in Arizona. I went to the University of Arizona for grad school, and that's in a city called Tucson, which is a very hot place and a very dry place. And if you don't have a gigantic bottle of water around you basically at all times, you run the risk of dehydration. All right. So, Raven, you meant non-empty. So to allow non-empty, non-glottal stop. Okay, there are too many negatives there for me to parse. There are echoed words. There will be a con culture for this as part of the larger world building project. But I think because this language is going to have such deep ties with the community, I think we might want to meme up the con culture that we build for this language. So I will I'll plant that in your fertile imaginations, and we will see what madness comes from it. All right. So what are we doing next? Oh yes, we have to talk about where are we? We have to talk about the morphological typology. Yeah, here we are. So what sort of morphology do we have? Do we have largely analytic morphology? Do we have largely synthetic morphology? Oh, don't make me say it. I think so, and the language we're using for this is, and I'm going to just get the Wikipedia article up here. Wouldn't it have been nice if there were just a little slight IPA right there? But nevertheless, we have to look at the orthography, the many different orthographies. So we have a J first. So this is je. So jou, and then we have this nasalized, glottalized dental click. So jou, on, on, I think. Yeah. So anyway, that's that. So we need to look at the where is it? Let's find it. There we go. We need to look at the morphology section of walls for this. So here's what we're going to do. Let's get some space down here. So locus of marking in the so zero marking. This is interesting. So this is, let's take a look. So we have head marking languages. So we have basically two arenas in which we can talk about this marking. We can talk about it within the NP. So do you mark possessors or possessed nouns? And within the clause. So do you mark things like agreement on the verb, or do you mark the participants of the clause on the noun? So things like case. And there's been some work to sort of correlate these two differences. So if we look at locus of marking in the clause, let's go in here. So this is a convenient term, as it's a convenient one-word term for what's known as head or dependent marking. So in head marking, the verb agrees. So the marking for the different participants of the clause occurs in the head of the clause. So that's the verb. It's not it. Yeah, here it is. That's it. So you have third singular, third plural. The boys threw a rock, presumably, because if it has singular, on top of the house. And so instead of marking boys as nominative and rock as accusative, you have just agreement on the verb. Dependent marking is when you have the clause participants marked on the noun, the identity of the different clause participants marked on the nouns. Am I explaining this correctly, or well at all? So here we have ergative and absolutive case markers on the nouns, rather than having agreement marking on the verb. And then of course you can have double marking, where you mark agreement on the verb and you mark case on the noun. And then you can also have no marking, which is the situation in our language, which I will not attempt to pronounce. So that's that in a nutshell. Locus of marking, head dependent marking typology. All right. So, yeah. So anyway, we have zero marking, either on noun, in the clause, or within the noun phrase. So that's interesting. My little sum up statement. So that's interesting. Prefixing versus suffixing in inflectional morphology. So there's little affixation at all. So this is taking us towards that analytic direction. Let's see. Case syncretism. Well, since we have zero marking, we can't have case at all, because case is an instance of dependent marking. And so if we have zero marking, we're not going to have case marking. So this feature is irrelevant. Similarly, verbal agreement marking. This is head marking. If we have no head marking either, then there's going to be no syncretism in verbal agreement. So this feature is irrelevant. Number of genders, 5 or more. I kind of want to figure out what's going on here. Let's look at that. Now, it's probably, it's not going to tell us about this language in particular in walls. It just has a value for it, but maybe we can see something in, here we go. So nouns are grouped into noun classes based on animacy and species. So these are the genders, noun classes. So 5 or more, it's actually exactly 5. And so we have class, and they're just called class 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Interesting. So here we have person, dog, meteor, a different word for meteor, and forest. So who knows what the semantic basis of this is? I'm sure there is one. But like all of these noun classification systems, they both have a semantic basis and frequently just go completely, have exceptions and have things which are only in one noun class because they have a particular ending. That's pretty common with these things. I don't know if it's going to tell us anything more about that. No. But anyway, that's something. At least we have five or more genders. Let's keep it at that. It's a non-sex-based system. Let's see. Systems of gender assignment, semantic and formal. Let's talk about this for a second. This is kind of what I was getting at a second ago. So, let's see. Zoom down to where it talks about... Yeah. So semantic gender assignment is when there's something in the real world that's being tracked. So there's, if you have a system based on a noun class system based on different types of animals, and you have, humans in one, dangerous animals in another, non-dangerous animals in a third, and then inanimate objects in a fourth. So you have that kind of system. If it's a semantic assignment system, that's going to be fairly rigid. You're not going to have things that don't belong in that, if it's a dangerous animal, if it's conceived of that way, then it's going to be in that noun class. If we have the opposite of that, or the alternative, is formal assignments. So things like if it ends in this consonant, then it goes into this gender system. Things like that, or if it has this affix at the end, like hen in German, giving always neuter nouns, even if the semantic content of that neuter noun is girl, like Mädchen. That's kind of a classic example. So that's formal assignment of gender. I'm kind of going through a lot of stuff right now, but hopefully it's let me know, stop me if I don't make any sense. Yeah. Okay. So what we have here is semantic and formal. So it's non-sex based, but it's semantic and formal gender assignment. So that will look something like German, where you have some things. So the gender system is tracking something non-linguistic, let's just say, something social, and although it's doing that, on the one hand, you also have these exceptions where anything with this one suffix is going to go into the neuter gender. So that's this combined semantic and formal system of gender assignment. What else do we have? Yeah. Oh, we've already gone off of morphology proper, but this is kind of fun. Let's say we have a pluralclitic. We have definite articles. We have indefinite articles. Kind of a thing I don't often do in Conlangs, but let's do it here. Yeah, let's leave that for now. Let's go down to verbal categories. So we have perfective versus imperfective aspect. We have no tense. So no past or future tense. No perfect. No inflection for tense and aspect. That's kind of cool. All right, that's enough. That's enough, I think, to take from this language. I saw a suggestion to roll for kind of super segmental stuff like stress and tone. I think that's a great idea. Let's do it. So stress, tone, and let's put where. Now I've opened too many tabs. I don't know. Does anyone else have this problem? Yeah, I from what I know about your chat, you have this problem too. You must. There's no way. I'm sorry if I'm making assumptions here, but there's no way someone who's into conlanging and linguistics doesn't have like 5 billion tabs open. It's just a fact of life. All right, stress and tone. Let's go back to our list. And we got lists, ahoy. Where on earth? Okay, here we go. The last one. Generate. 32. Number 32. What is it going to be? Number 32. You are Chukchi. Interesting. I don't think we're going to be dealing with tone here. Not that I know very much about this language, but I know where it is or where it's located. Not entirely a tonal hotspot. Let's see what we have. No tones. We have fixed stress on the first syllable. So put it here. No tone, fixed stress, first syllable, stress, fixed initial. No weight sensitivity. No tones. Yeah. All right, so hopefully that didn't disappoint too many people. All righty. Let's forge ahead. Okay, so we have a good list of features. Thank you so much to our inspiration languages for allowing us to mash them up like this. This is cool. So we have a VSO language with a relatively small consonant and vowel inventory and a relatively restrictive syllable structure with fixed initial stress, which has no case or agreement marking whatsoever, and a 5+ noun class system that is not based on It's not based on sex. So this is where we are. I think I will take a moment. I'll give our YouTube friends a break, and then we'll start adapting some names and start assigning some meanings to things. Okay. All right, YouTube. Where are we? Here we are. YouTube, thanks again for joining us. Come back next time. We are going to start adapting some names from the chat into words, into roots in this language. Actually, into words, because we're not going to have any much morphology to speak of. So, see you next time. And until then, thumbs up.